Welcome, everyone. So, the Phoenix Mercury and the Minnesota Lynx, what a game. This was a great game. The Phoenix Mercury were down with like 4 minutes left, and then I think it actually was less than that. I'll have to look. You know, Minnesota, you think, okay, well, they're just going to pull it out just like they always do. But, you have to, Minnesota had the Commissioner's Cup, then they had to play, I forget who they played, I think Vegas. And then they had a back to back with the Valkyries and I think Chicago. And then they're playing again in Phoenix. And it's, what, 115 there. That's got to take a toll on your body. But, everybody's got to deal with it, so no excuses or anything like that. But you know, last game, Phoenix plays, Sammy Whitcomb goes berserk 3 pointers. This game doesn't make one. But here's the thing about Phoenix. This is what makes them so dangerous. Alyssathomas just took over. She just took over. She shot 24 times. If you look at her stats throughout the season, she never shoots that much. And it was like she just put everybody on her back and said, okay, we're not losing this game. And especially down the stretch. Because they were losing. I don't know what the time was on the clock, but it was in the midway through the fourth quarter. And they were losing by 8, I think. 70, let's see. Minnesota only scored 71. So they actually didn't score the last 2 minutes of the game. They hit that 71st point and then nothing. And credit to Phoenix. Boy, they have people. They have Sably out. They have Copper out. They just brought in Dewana Bonner. This was her first game. She played 26 minutes. And Minnesota just didn't get contributions from everybody like they usually do. And that's how you beat them. You almost have to hope that they don't shoot well, or at least a couple of them don't shoot well. When you look at their stats, Carlton had 10, Fee had 18, and Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams isn't playing great. She shot 50% from the floor, 9 for 18. Fee was 53%, but she was 0 for in her threes, and she only went to the foul line twice. They were 5 for 5 from the free throw line. And, that's not going to get it done for Minnesota. Unless they're hitting a bunch of threes, which they shot 26% from three-point range. 6 for 23. Yeah, even a team as good as Minnesota, you're not winning unless the other team's shooting just as bad. So the game started out, Minnesota was winning in the first 19-15. Then Phoenix came right back in the second, outscored them 25-18. Then Minnesota went right back again, outscored them 20-12 in the third. And then the fourth, they were still winning. And then it was it was the whole team, but Alyssathomas, especially in the last 3 minutes, she was just like, yeah, we're not losing this game. And poured it on. And they outscored them 27-14. That's hard to do against Minnesota, but they weren't hitting, and things just didn't go their way this game. So Jessica Shepard had 8 points, Heidemann had 6, Diamond Miller didn't score, and Maria Kondalikova, I'll get that right at some point, she had no points. Kayla McBride only had 6. I don't know, Kayla McBride is usually a 20-point a game scorer, and she has just not been doing that. She's not even taken a lot of shots. She took 8 shots. She was 2 for 8. Alana Smith, she has also been, upwards of 20 points numerous times. She had 9 rebounds. Collier had 7 rebounds. Courtney Williams had 6. Shepard had 7. So they did well rebounding. Let me see. Oh, it was even. 35-36 against Phoenix. So Phoenix got just as many. So they didn't. But there's you look at the plus minus on Minnesota, and there's like every single player is a negative. And that's really unusual. So Phoenix pulls it out in the end. 79-71. Congratulations, Phoenix. Very well played game. They are now 14-6. Minnesota is 17-3. They outscored Minnesota. Points in the paint was 56-34. That's something. Turnovers. Yeah, Minnesota had 18 turnovers. That's not good. Too many turnovers for them. And then points off turnovers. There's the game. Phoenix had 15 points off turnovers, and Minnesota had 5. So Phoenix, lots of people having Alyssathomas 29 points. She had 8 rebounds and 5 assists. She just, she usually has a lot of assists, and this time she was just like, no, I'm taking it. And she just scored. And here he only had about 3 players with negative plus or minuses. So Westbeld, she had 7 points, 6 rebounds. Alyssathomas 29. Natasha Mack had 7. Sammy Whitcomb had 10, but she was 0 for 3. 3 for 9 overall. And then she got points on the foul line. She was 4 for 4 there. Just a big drop off from. But you know what? She had dropped off. She had 36 the other day, and Alyssathomas just picked it right up. And that's what makes these teams dangerous, because, if you have multiple players that can do this, and they don't even have Sabally or Copper, when they get, and then Held. Lexi Held is a very good player. They get those 3 back, and Phoenix is a tough team. They're going to, if they stay healthy, they tend to rely on the 3-point shot too much, but, this time they didn't need it. They were, 1 for 16 from 3, and they still pulled out the win. They would have beat Minnesota by a lot if they were hitting 3-pointers like they were the other day. Akoa Makani had 13 points. Duana Bonner had 7. Loxa had 2, and Kiana Williams had 2. And then Kalani Brown had 2. So, good game, though. This was fun to watch because, just on Minnesota's performance to this point in the season, you just kind of, they're going to pull this one out. And they couldn't. And Phoenix kept pressing, and I can't believe Alyssathomas is not in the All-Star game. I mean, she was injured for quite a bit of the first part of the season, but so was Caitlin Clark, and she's in there. And Alyssathomas she's a beast. She gets going, and she is really hard to stop. Because you can't, she is a big, strong body, and she's barreling down the key at point guards, and they're not going to get in the way of that. If you do, you're going to have some bruises, that's for sure. And that's probably best case scenario. So, anyway, congratulations, Phoenix, and we'll see you next time.